This has been iTalk. This has been very good. Our guest for today's episode of Skullet is world-renowned comedian. Put your hands together, everybody, for Maddie Wiener. Maddie Wiener, everybody.
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming to the pod. Welcome to Pittsburgh. How's it going?
Thank you for having me. I'm having a blast, dude.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I love Pittsburgh.
You like it?
Yeah. I think I said this to you earlier, but I was like, it really feels like an entire city drawn by like Lemony Snicket. It's like, it's like old, creepy, like American Harry Potter. I really like how steep the stairs are is so cool. It feels like you know what it feels like? It feels like Coraline.
It does feel like Coraline. Like
Yeah.
we're in like a black and white kind of vibe of like is Coraline in black and white? In my head it's in black and white.
Coraline, but it was like claymation, stop motion,
oh, yeah,
like
right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels like 100%.
It's very true.
Dude.
We have a bunch of old churches. We're in an old church right now. But
I
yeah,
love that
it's very
vibe.
kind of gloomy and kind of like yeah, exactly, like old Americana kind of.
And it's been rainy these last few days, so
Absolutely,
like
yeah.
I don't know. It's cool. I really like it.
You've been here a few times before, right? Or at least once?
Yeah, I did the improv here with Mateo
That's right,
Lane.
Yeah.
But I feel like I didn't really explore that much of the city when I was here.
Have you been exploring a little bit? I know we've been.
Honestly,
or
not.
you've been
I was gonna
chilling
go to
out.
that oddities shop, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
I like, dude, this is my poor planning. I'm procrastinating. I packed so hastily,
Sure.
and then I got here, and I was like, I didn't bring anything that I needed, so I bought clothes and like. Yeah, I went to the Apple store. Like, I just, like, upped on essentials.
Hell yeah, for sure.
So that's when most of my days has been undoing the damage of my poor packing.
Gotcha. Because you're going to Vegas for a week after this.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, you're doing the Comedy Cellar. And
Comedy Cellar Vegas, baby.
we spoke in the
Maybe
car.
I'll gamble for the first time. We'll see.
You never gambled before.
Yeah, I don't think I've even gambled in like a casual setting.
Interesting.
Whatever that addiction center of your brain is, gambling does not. It's not the missing puzzle piece for me. You know what I mean?
I do,
like,
yeah.
I don't think that's my. It doesn't light my brain up the way I feel like it does for some people.
Do you think it has to do with just having like expendable income to a point where you're just like, I can fucking do this? And
Honestly,
then,
maybe.
I don't know. For me, it's always been like a matter of like, I can't afford this.
Are you into gambling though? Like, do you like it if you can?
I used to play poker a lot with my friends. I used to beat them a lot, and now I actually play with people who are actually very good, and I don't participate. Yeah.
That's the other thing too, is I don't really know how to play poker or any of the like skill. I would just be on the like little slot.
You're a
like,
slot machine?
Yeah.
Who knows?
I would bet on skee ball if they had that.
Oh yeah.
I'm picturing casinos as like Chuck E. Cheese. I know that's not what they are,
It's
but
Dave
like
and Buster's, but with more money. Yeah.
yeah, dude, totally.
Yeah.
Dude, Dave and Buster's apparently, we were just talking about this on my podcast. They're gonna like let people bet on stuff like you can sit back and bet on the games people are
Like
playing.
air
in Dave and
hockey
Buster's.
or something?
I guess so.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, wow.
Which is like seems like a real low point. If you're there, you gotta get help.
That's just gonna be rigged very quickly. You know, he's throwing the fight, whatever. Well, that's cool. Well, you did both of the Don't Tell Us here. Dave and Buster. Sorry, we'll go back to that. Dave and Buster's plan to allow betting on arcades game draw scrutiny. Interesting. CNBC. Announced this week. Yeah. Is it only in Illinois or who cares?
Is it an Illinois thing?
I
guess it depends on the gambling laws of right?
I guess so.
I mean, that's just the most like single dad activity I've ever heard in my life.
Oh my God! Yeah. Weekend
You're
dad.
gambling
It's like,
at-
actually while we're here. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Jesus Christ. Tough look.
That is a tough look. I don't think I've been to Dave & Buster's just once, and I've never returned. But
I actually don't know that I ever have.
been to a Dave & Buster's.
Yeah.
A D&B. Yeah. No, we went for like I used to work at a doggy daycare center, and
Whoa.
yeah, twice. 2 different places, 2 different states. But we did. It was like a bowling outing at Dave & Buster's, and then it seemed like there was a lot of fun outside of that.
Damn.
I
I mean, I could get behind it.
yeah.
There's like, what's the fucking place?
Chuck E. Cheese.
No, in Brooklyn, Alligator Lounge that has like the skee ball.
Yes.
I think that's the most recent time I've played skee ball as an adult, and I was like,
course.
this shit is so fun.
Did you go for a show or open mic? Neither. Just having fun.
I think it was like after a show, and we just went there because it was like nearby.
Totally. Yeah.
Dude, wait, no, I might have been to a Dave & Buster's with. Was I with Chad Daniels? I think I was opening for Chad Daniels, and we were in like a it was like an improv that's in a mall, and there was like a Dave & Buster's. No, it wasn't Chad Daniels. It was Brett Morin. Sorry, Brett Morin. I don't know why I mixed them up. Sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry, Chad. Sorry, Brent. Sorry, everybody involved in that story. But I think we did go to a Dave and Buster's, and it was kind of sick.
Huh.
Or it was some similar adult, like...
Totally, yeah.
Because, dude, skee ball, I'll fuck up skee ball.
Skee ball's
I'm
fun.
not even that good at it.
Do you go for the thousands? Do you go for the 500s?
Yeah, I go 1,000. And I'll hit the 1,000 sometimes, dude.
Okay, yeah.
Not to brag.
Not to brag. Okay.
You know, come see me on tour, bitch.
Dude,
Because
and
I'm hitting
her.
thousands on
Yeah.
skee ball.
Yeah, for sure. That's fucking sick, man. Dude, okay, so you open for Chad Daniels, you open for Brett Moran as well?
I didn't know. Well, I did open for Chad years ago, but I don't know why I mixed them up in that story. I'm so sorry. I'm going off like 3 hours of sleep right now.
No, it's okay. It's all right. No, it's cool. No, you've been so you crushed all weekend here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. They really were such fun shows.
No, you've been crushing it. No, and then and you've been doing comedy for like what, 10 years at this point, or
9, 10? Yeah,
9,
I think we're
10?
coming up on 10.
You
Yeah.
started young.
Little baby.
That's great.
Little baby
Oh,
boy.
congratulations. That's so sick, man. No, it was so cool. We had, I think I told you this, but we have like a regular that comes to our shows, and we're like, and I know that she followed you, so I was like, hey, Maddie Wiener's gonna be at the show. And then she's like, oh my God, bought a ticket immediately. She came out. She was so happy to see us. So
Dude, that's so sweet. That
yeah,
rocks.
no, we really do appreciate you coming out for sure.
Oh, dude, for real, thank you for having me. It really was
Yeah.
a blast.
First show, second show, which did you like better? Which did you like worse?
Ooh. I liked the audience. They were both good.
Yeah.
They were both great. But I liked the audience of the first show a little better. But aesthetically, that second show,
I know.
was so like kind of punk and cool.
Totally,
and,
yeah.
Yeah, the skate shop really ripped.
Skate shop
But they were,
was fun.
they were both fun for different reasons.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm making you. I don't know why we're competing here, but you know.
No, I'm not bullshitting. I really did. They both
Yeah.
had their like, yeah. Because they also, were we talking about this? We were just talking to their comic about this, but that like sometimes those like grungier
Yeah.
rooms, it feels like people are more down to hear dirty stuff
Mm.
just because they're in the headspace of like, yeah, man, we're on the outskirts,
For sure,
and like
yeah.
they're kind of fun if you're trying to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, the first show was at Exorcist Movement Studio, and the second one was at One Up Skate Shop. And the thing about Exorcist, which is like it's like a second floor of like it's like a kind of a yoga studio / like just a regular gym, but they do have incense in it. So I don't know if that has something to do with it too. It's like this place smells really good.
It smells nice, and it's like wellness and fitness,
I
and I'm like,
know.
I'm fat, I want to die. It really, you feel very fish out of water.
Yeah,
Beautiful
yeah.
place.
It was beautiful.
That's
yeah.
why my material didn't fit in.
Oh, I thought you did. No, I think it's
Oh,
totally,
thanks. No,
you,
it's a
you even
super fun
opened
show,
with
but-
it too. You opened with it too about being, or at least like you
Well,
mentioned.
I
at
opened with
least.
spilling water and almost ruining your sign, which I'm so sorry about.
Oh, don't worry
A really
about it.
rough entrance for, dude. Yeah, I had like a liquid death. I spilled it, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm better." And people in the audience had to be like, "Your phone's getting wet."
Oh my God!
And
Yeah.
we cleaned it up, and then I don't think I drank the water the rest of the set. I didn't need to bring it up.
You might have knocked it over again. You know, it's superstition after that.
I always, you know what? I only, this is maybe not even interesting at all, but I only bring up water because I'm like, what if I have like a coughing fit
Oh.
and I need to like, you know what I mean? Because I remember getting
Yeah.
those in school where you're like, and you're
Sure,
holding it
yeah.
in because like everyone's like silently reading or something. And I was like, if I have that on stage, I'm fucked. But I like never like just sip water during a set.
I don't either. I bring it up I guess just in case. But my thing is like if I have, I'll come up with a. Do you drink it all?
Not really. Like
Yeah.
I will if it's like we're having a night, but like pretty rarely.
I go up with a beer or sometimes, and then it becomes a thing where I'm looking at it like a tape. I'm like, I'm drinking this thing the entire show. Like I can't stop sipping it. It's like, and I keep reaching for it again and again. It's just like,
Oh, like it almost becomes a tick, like how you grab the mic.
absolutely. It's
Oh,
a huge
interesting.
disaster for sure. Yeah.
Do you like going up like tipsy? Like, is it more fun or is it
Not
loser?
at all. I'll have like no, definitely.
I don't know
not.
why I'm doing this to myself.
Not at all. No, I like to have like I'll have like a beer or something, and but the second time if I have 2 beers, I will eventually start slurring. It's like it's actually very embarrassing.
Yeah, I really it's just hard because I feel like you see people cross those wires too, where like now they can only go up drunk, and then it's
Sure,
like now you
yeah.
kind of have backed yourself into a corner of like
yeah.
that. Always scared me so much that I was like, I don't want to get used to going up drunk or high or
Yeah.
like, because then you have to go up like that, and it's like that sucks.
Yeah.
Or you have to relearn how to do stand up. Like I don't know, it just seems like kind of a people who like really depend on. But this thing, it's so set up to encourage alcoholism. It's like
sure,
literally
yeah.
getting paid in drinks. Like when
I know.
comics are sober, I'm like, dude, like the willpower to do that in this environment is
Totally,
like
yeah.
bonkers.
Right.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
I feel like they always level up somehow though. They're just like
When
you know,
comics get sober?
yes, it's like
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
for sure. But it's like I guess they have to really be a real big like shitbag about it beforehand. No, I'm like, oh, I'll have it too, but I don't think it'll actually make any difference at all. Like maybe you need to relax a little bit, but.
I'm like, yeah, you level up because I'm like, yeah, you're not drunk all the time. Like,
Yeah,
if you were doing stand up well like that, you're gonna be fucking amazing sober.
Totally,
you can figure it out.
yeah. So you never had you've been drunk on stage before? You ever just get trashed and then try to do it, or?
I've been drunk on stage like maybe one time, but like I'm such a lightweight and I really don't drink that much. Like I used to smoke weed a lot, and that was fun. But even then, I rarely did it before a show.
Totally.
I don't know. You just feel like the thing of like what you're saying is like on one track, and then you have like your thoughts on another track in your head while you're doing stand up, where you're like thinking about the next bit or almost like analyzing it as it's happening.
Totally, yeah.
I feel like I lose that second track if I'm fucked up.
Right.
And maybe that's just being more in the moment, but I'm like, I need that second track. That's where all the work is happening a little
For
bit,
sure, yeah.
I don't know if that sounds like up my own ass, like over analyzing it, but like yeah, I'm just like, oh, you're thinking a lot while you're on stage, separate from what you're saying.
Yeah.
And if you can't do that, like, I don't know, it feels weird to me.
It's like there's no analysis happening, kind of like you're just like I'm too present almost, or something.
Yeah, or you're just in the autopilot of like saying the jokes. I'm like, I feel like, the analysis as you're doing it and the thinking about like, based on their response, how am I going to change the next thing because they seemed weird about this, so maybe they'll be weird about this later down the line. I'm like, if you're not clocking that stuff, like, I don't know. But then again, there are people, unfortunately, who I'm like, you seem pretty funny drunk.
Totally.
You know what I mean? That's the fucked up thing
sure,
is some people you're like, yeah, it works, man. It's a bad health decision, but maybe it's not a bad comedy decision.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm like, I don't mean to just bulldoze. I'm just...
No, for sure. I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, should I admit, like, I'm just thinking like the guy drinks all the time, but like he's just
does he?
Yeah. Anyway, I'm just remembering. I was like, we'll cut that out. We'll cut that out. I'm just in my head.
I didn't know that.
Big guy, he will fucking get.
But like,
hardly tight. Yeah.
Do you feel like too? There's like, actually, I wonder if this is changing now because of a few things. But like the glamorization of like the like drunken artist, and you got to be on the road, and you got to be a scumbag, and like, oh man, I'm falling apart, but I'm getting bits out of it. Like, I wonder if that's like changing a little bit because like, I think because of clips, people like think about how they look all the time, and so there's like hot comedy. I think there's always kind of been hot comedy, but like it seems like, and like I don't know, the Joe Rogan like workout hustle grind, like there, and like all the MMA stuff and the energy drinks and the sponsorships from like BetterHelp, like it almost feels like in the last few years, like now comedy is more in bed with like self-optimization than it is with like, I feel like when I started and listened to like the old guys that I looked up to, it was all like self-sabotage or like the romanticization of that. I don't know. Does that feel like a thing at all? I think it's a brilliant
observation. I totally agree with that. Yeah, I don't think that there's a matter. I don't think that it's. I think that it's maybe like people realize how much work is involved now too. So it's just like if you're being fucked up all the time, everyone's like, "Don't you realize how much like you gotta get on Premiere?"
Actually, that's a good point. We have to do probably more work than previous. You can't just like show up to late night, do it, and then you're done. You're like, I gotta edit all my own clips.
For sure.
I can't be drunk. I gotta learn how to edit in Premiere Pro.
Yeah.
Like,
dude,
that's so funny.
If you're just like fucked up, everyone's just like, "Don't you realize you got to be captioning your shit right now, man?" Like, I feel like the comedy audience is way more savvy too.
Huh. Because they have this insight into like
in podcasts and stuff, so I just think it's I don't know. That's my theory. I mean, I'm
really
just piggybacking off of your theory for sure, but I agree with that. Who were the people like a Stanhope type? Like who were the people you?
Yeah, I am a big Stanhope head.
Likewise, yeah,
and that's always the guy that comes to mind of like, fucking ride it out, dude.
I was Corinne Fisher was at Hilarities, and like I was hosting for her, and I was at. So in the green rooms, like outside the green room, someone was like, Corinne Fisher, and she's like, who is that? I look out, and I'm like, it's Doug Stanhope. So like Doug Stanhope was just like doing like the Sunday show, and he was just there for like the weekend and said hi and stuff, and he was just like, hey, I'm Doug. And I'm like, I know who you are, right? It was just like a very like, it just like, and he knows her, and it was like such a cool thing.
Dude.
Just like Stanhope just hanging out. He was just drinking at Hilarities, and he was like, I'm gonna say hi to Corinne.
That's so sick.
Yeah, he's a fucking man.
Dude, I went and saw him in high school when like I've been doing stand up for a few years. Me and my buddy went to see him, and at the end of the show, he was like, all right, comics, we're like hanging out in the back. And we were like, his opener went back and we were like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, you guys do like open mics, right? And we were
So
like, yeah.
cool,
And he was
man.
like, yeah, you're a comic. And came back and talked to us like totally peer to peer. And like, you know what I mean? We were like 3 years in maybe. And
Yeah.
it was like, it really made you feel like, oh, there's like a real like brotherhood in this thing that like this person that I look up to is like, if you do it, you do it. We're one and the same. And like, so cool.
Yeah.
Like so fucking cool.
That's incredible. We did you ever hear his album? Like, what is the album? Something to Take the Edge Off? So I think it was.
I think so, but I don't remember which one that is.
He and Hedberg, I think they had like they both did like the same kind of like bass, like maybe the same place that they filmed it or recorded.
Is this the one where he's in the fucking Santa hat, like in the year 0, filmed on a potato or whatever?
I don't believe so.
There's some like gnarly footage on YouTube of
Wait,
him
he's
like.
on a potato? What
No,
was
I
it?
just mean it's film. It's like so grainy. It's so old. I think it's probably like
Interesting.
digitized from VHS or something.
Yeah.
And he's like in a Santa Claus hat at some comedy festival, and he's so young. It's like
Yeah.
little baby face.
Right.
I don't know. It's great, but it's like I don't even know what the Santa hat was about. But what a legend.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God. Look at his
my!
long
Look
hair.
at that hair! Holy shit!
Gorgeous.
California rolls. Damn,
What a
come on.
cutie.
He's the fucking man. No, he did like it was he and Hedberg, I think, like had a stand up bass like the whole special or the whole album. It's like boom boom. I remember this because I was
Whoa.
I was like walking dogs in fucking Tribeca. Like this is like early days of open mics or whatever. Just like listening to this shit. Like this is so fucking cool. But we just had on Thursday we did a show at a CBD store, and the owner. This is the third time we did it. He's like, I have stand up bass, and I'm like, can you bring it? So like last Thursday we just did the show, and like the owner of the CBD store just had like his stand up bass as we're doing the shows. So it was just like it. Two of the comics didn't want to do it, but like myself and another comic, Chrissy Costa, were just like, "Fucking, we're gonna do it. Are you kidding? We're gonna do a stand-up bass." And it does mess with your timing, but in a very cool way.
That's
know?
so sick.
Yeah.
It almost seems like I did one recently that was like, then there was like music in the background
Yeah.
and like live accompaniment, and they're kind of matching your rhythm, and like it almost like shakes you out of the autopilot of like the rhythm of your bits. Like it makes you like, you know how like actors like they say to like memorize the words with no emotion, get the lines and then put the emotion into them.
Yes,
like
for
it
sure.
almost like does that. It like jolts you out of like, oh, what are just the words separate from my like intonation and stuff. And like, yeah, it's really interesting. It's harder than I thought it would be.
You've done it. You've done like with the company. What was that like?
Yeah,
for you?
cool. Because it sounded like the intro in a musical where they're talking and they're about to sing. And I was like, if I was more talented, I would do some improv. You know what I mean? Like sing it. But then I joked that I should do that. And then I started to, and I was like, I can't. I'm not Roy Scovel. Like, who do I think I am? I don't know how to do this.
Did you do any acting or stuff like that growing up?
I was like a big theater kid, but like
Sure.
as a kid, like I never really did it in like a real like professional sense.
Gotcha.
But I loved it. It was fun.
yeah,
I had
for
like
sure.
the tech side of it. I don't know. Were you?
A little bit, yeah, for sure. Like plays, musicals, and stuff. And I've taken some like commercial acting classes or whatever. Did you ever do like improv, like UCB or?
No, I did improv like in high school.
Sure.
But that's about as far as I went with it.
Yeah.
It is fun.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it was fun. I wish I could still do theater too, but the hours are just like,
Ridiculous.
what are you going to take 3 months off stand up? Like, yeah.
Yeah, a friend of mine, I went to film school, right? So like before I did stand up, so a good buddy of mine is an actor. He's like, "Hey man, like can you like we need somebody for this thing." And then he's ended up like haranguing me into actually being in the play. And it was just like, what a nightmare, dude. A fucking nightmare. I'm like, I want to do shows, but I'm like doing this fucking stupid play. This fucking a theater director is like an insane person who's just like some rich kid who's just like a little king of the castle. He's like a 5'5" man, but he made me cry on the floor because I was not like I was too stiff, and he wanted to break me in front of the whole cast. So he's like, cry.
Oh my God.
And it
when
was
was this? Were you like a kid?
I was
or
an
was-
adult man, actually. I was like 27 years old. But I just did it because I was just like, I'm not afraid. And I'm just like, it was very humiliating, actually, in retrospect.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so funny when people take shit so seriously.
Yeah.
And you're like, we're hobbyists.
Uh-huh.
Like, do you ever go on that subreddit r/hobby drama?
No.
Oh my God.
What
it's
is this?
so
This sounds
funny.
incredible.
Dude, it's so fucking funny. It's like people will just post drama from
Yeah.
their very niche, insular,
Yeah.
like groups.
Yeah.
So like local amateur stand-up comedy drama is like so up that alley.
Of course, yeah.
But people will post like, the inner workings of like their bowling league and a fight they're having, and like Beanie Baby collectibles, and like there was somewhere someone was like woke politics have gotten into Beanie Babies, and it's so fucking funny because it's people fighting with their whole chest about absolutely fucking nothing.
Yeah.
And it's like awesome. And I think people who post on that subreddit have to be somewhat self-aware,
Right.
because it's like you're posting in a thing about,
Totally.
you know what I mean?
For sure.
But it's really funny.
I overheard a date at a coffee shop, and he's like, I think this guy was like it was a first date. Went to this coffee shop. I think the guy was like in his 50s. And he was just like, he knew the guy, and he was like, oh yeah, we played basketball together. And he's like, yeah, it was a pretty fun game the other night. He's like, yeah. One guy didn't really pass very much though. It was just a matter of just him being like, it was pretty fun, but didn't really get the ball very often.
To be so upset by it that you'd ruin your date.
Exactly. Just to let you know, for sure. So okay, all right. So started in North Carolina, in Chapel Hill, Raleigh.
I was in Chapel Hill, but to get up 7 nights a week, you kind of had to drive a good, like you were basically in the Raleigh scene and the Greensboro scene, and you go to Wilmington, and you occasionally go to Charlotte. So it was like it all kind of mixed together.
Okay.
But there was some stuff in Chapel Hill, but
Gotcha.
we were driving a lot.
So your buddies, they traveled to New York with you eventually, or no?
Yeah, so buddies of mine who I started with, who are some are in Austin now, some are in Chicago, and then my buddy Kenyon and I are roommates in New York, and we have a podcast together. But there's a group of us. It was me, Sam Prickett, Nick Cartwright, Mark McPartland, Kenyon Adamchick. I mean, I'm missing people, but those are like buddies that we started in North Carolina. We're there for like 3-4 years, and then everyone kind of moved to Chicago at the same time. And I was graduating high school, and I was like, I'll just go to college in Chicago to like go with them.
Hell yeah.
And so we all kind of like migrated up there, and then people sort of split off and went to different scenes. But yeah, it was kind of nice that like our crew like moved together. I'm like, what a rare thing to like move with like a friend group of like probably like 7 people over the course of a few months trickled up there.
That's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like we had a really good crew in North Carolina, and I really think that like scene is it really, I was saying this earlier about the town, but like it punches above its weight in terms of what you would expect from like a kind of random small state. It's like a really good scene, and you really could get up like 7 nights a week.
It's great.
And like Good Nights was our home club, and you could get club work. They had like a great track to get you into like hosting and featuring, and yeah, I'm like so glad I started there. That scene is like my favorite thing in the world.
And you went, and how long were you in Chicago? For the 4 years of college, or were you there for a little bit longer after that as well?
Yeah, pretty much just the 4 years of college. It was like 3.5 because I think I transferred some credits, and then but I moved to New York like straight when I graduated.
That's sick.
So it's kind of been like a weird like, equal amount of time in 3 different scenes now.
For sure, yeah. So I guess by the time, I mean, I was in New York and then I was here, but like you went to like smaller, middle. I mean, Chicago's pretty huge as well, but then.
But that was
New
the
York,
idea, was to go to a mid-sized scene before.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
No, so it's like a very good trajectory.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad to have gotten all of those, and like, dude, props for starting in New York, because I don't know how people, like, because starting in a small scene, you're like, dude, our open mic would have like, the open mic at the club would have like 100 real people there.
Sure, yeah.
And you're, doing 20 minutes 6 months in when you have no business doing it. But I think like it produces like more weirdos in a really good way.
Yeah.
Because there's not as much like comparison to bounce yourself off of. So people are really just like having ideas and letting them rip.
Right.
In a way that's like cool. And then you go to like a New York and you're like, okay, now you got to get like punchy and like,
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they both have their advantages, but I can't imagine like starting in New York and coming up in mics there. It seems like so brutal.
It was pretty brutal. Yeah, but it was like, I mean, there's plenty of great comics that came out, just started in New York as well. You know,
and I don't mean that to shit on it either. Like, man, it sucks. I just mean like,
no,
I respect it so much because I'm like, I literally don't know if I would have stuck with it if like,
in retrospect, I wish I didn't. For sure.
For real? Are you from New York originally?
No, I'm from Maryland. I went to film school, which got me into. Then I was doing improv. Then I got into stand up.
Right on.
But like, it wasn't a matter of like, oh, I'm gonna move to New York to do stand up. I was like film school and whatever else. But yeah, in retrospect, I'm like, because I've done kind of the opposite. I was in New York and then I went to Pittsburgh, right? Like, who does that, right? So actually, I don't know if you know Ray Zawadney. He's a comic. He opens for like Sean Donnelly a lot.
Oh, I love Sean.
Yeah, he's great, right? So, but he was but basically he moved to New York from Pittsburgh right as I moved from New York to Pittsburgh. So he's like, oh yeah, we're kind of like two shifts passing in a night, right? But it's a matter of like, yeah, for sure. I mean, I was in New York, and then it was like, and then I started doing the road, which is like kind of like a totally opposite thing of like, oh yeah, these obviously like the joke of like, yeah, these yeah, that's Ray. We don't need to show him on the podcast. All right, we will delete that forever. No, I'm kidding. No, we like Ray. No, but it's like Subway jokes and like weird polyamorous relationship and just a bunch of farmers looking at you like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? So, but then I figured out my shit after that. But but New York was a lot of just like, it was a lot. I mean, so many people that are just, the amount of comics that, Norman has created, just people that are doing that.
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of insane.
Dude, that shocked me when I came to visit New York one time and I went to Creek in the Cave and I was like, oh, there's like a New York cadence and like intonation that I'm like, it's just like a I did a blah blah blah. You ever synonym? Like I was like, I swear to God, I saw like 5 people do that, and I was like, that is fucking crazy. And, like I don't know, that's not even me like shitting. I'm literally not even thinking of a specific person. I'm just like, I was like, oh, there is like a New York like rhythm that's very Norman-esque.
This like a certain like movement too. Of just,
yeah,
like, emotion
yeah.
people are doing, like, oh yeah.
That's what I think. Those smaller scenes, like there's none of that to pick up on or mimic even, because it's just like random fucking weirdos, and I mean that in like the most positive way.
Totally, yeah.
Like it's people doing like weird and wild shit, but at the same time, weird and wild shit doesn't always translate to anything.
Very true. Yeah, totally.
I was gonna ask you something about I don't know, switching to the road or okay, wait, starting improv in New York versus starting stand-up in New York, is it a similar grind trajectory thing, or does improv get fun faster?
Well, first off, so for me it was it was expensive. So it's just like, I mean, eventually I'm just like, I'm paying $400 for this, and it's like, and it becomes a thing of like everyone that kind of filtered through was like everyone was like NYU students, right? So it was a bunch of NYU students and stuff, and it was just like very quickly being like, man, I don't know. I don't know if sometimes I don't know if I'm educated enough to like hang with these crews, So we're just like, so that's how I felt. I was just like, it was like there was the money, and then also just like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like I never read Proust, stuff like that. So I'm just sort of like hanging, but it was that. But I remember one very specific time because I was doing improv and stand up at the same time, and I was at a show where my improv group was performing, and there was like stand up show, right? Canceled. Nobody's at the show, of course. So, and I just remember like being like, I could be sad around my improv friends, or there's a bunch of just like misanthropic comics over here, and I went back and forth, and I'm like, I kind of like these stand-ups better because everyone's just kind of like running bits or whatever with like the improvisers, and like the stand-ups are just like, I don't know, just I felt like way more honest, or at least it's just like way more depressed in a way that I actually could really kind of vibe with. So that's why I eventually chose stand-up.
Dude, that's what's up. It's so cool too that like, I don't know, people from like just wildly different backgrounds and I mean in every possible category where you're like, you know what I mean? We look like an island of misfit toys, and you're like, I don't know what it is then that everybody has this like similar outlook on the world despite like coming at it from such different angles. I don't know, it's like very cool. Yeah. Because it's like, I think I would have had a much more like sheltered social circle if it wasn't for stand-up.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't have tried to, but I'm sure that's how it would have shaken out.
Well, what got you to do it at 15?
I was like, 16? Like 16.
You just like, we're just like, well, this seems like fun or what? Like,
there was like a mic near my house, and I was just like, I could just try it on a. It wasn't the like, I'm finally gonna try it out. Like I didn't start it being like, I'm gonna try to do this for a living. I was just like, oh, this seems like a fun way to kill time. I like theater stuff. I'm doing improv. Like this could be cool. And then I met my buddies Sam and Kenyon, and at the first mic I did, and they had only started like a few months before me, and they were like, dude, you don't get it. There's a whole scene. We can like drive around. You can do it 7 nights a week. Like this is how it works. And they kind of like took me under their wing, and like, I didn't have a license yet, so like my mom would drive me to open mic sometimes. Just the sweetest, like, you know what I mean? It's like so supportive. It's insane.
Sweet, yeah.
And then they would like drive me to mics and stuff too. And then after a few months of like doing it with them, I sort of looked up and I was like, oh, I guess I'm doing this 7 nights a week. I guess I want to like actually do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it kind of was like an accident, and then it just kind of stuck.
Well, what was were like the parents? You're just like, I'm doing it all the time, and they're like, yeah, it sounds cool. Like, what were you even talking about?
Dude, my relationship was like, I literally don't. I had some bit about like, I'll use the term bit loosely, but like some bit about like kids at my high school on Adderall sound like Quentin Tarantino.
Dude,
that's something, you
that's
know.
Kind of something, yeah.
That's a 16-year-old bit.
Yeah.
I had something about like anti-vaxxers and like, this is pre-COVID obviously, but like anti-vaxxers and anti-vaxxers and like how they, if you told them it was gluten-free, they would do, you know what I mean? It was like silly, stupid, like throwing shit at the wall.
Yeah.
But like, I have all my old notebooks and shit, and some of it I'm like, okay, you were trying something.
I don't know, but I feel like your Adderall and Quentin Tarantino is it's like, that's like very very specific pool. It's not too dissimilar from you to be like the background in Skyrim or whatever. Like your line that you have, where it's like it's very very particular observation that you have. That it's like,
thanks.
I don't know. It just feels like it's kind of like a very, I don't know, like a 16-year-old talking about, I don't know, maybe I'm stupid, but like a 16-year-old talking about like Tarantino, like specifically like that is like, it's I don't know. It kind of it's like it's kind of shows exactly kind of like what the kind of person you were at 16. You know, like like
thanks.
a kind of like a, I don't know, like a precocious, I guess, is like the thought, but also like, I don't know, like the media you're intaking. I don't know, just sort of I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm just like a bunch of word salad at you, but
no, it feels like a compliment. I'll take it. Thank you.
No, I'm just like, because I was just like, I heard that bit, the Skyrim thing. I'm like, fucking wow, like it's such a cool kind of like I don't know, like who makes that observation? Also, just like it's yeah, that's it. Take that as it is.
That's so sweet. Thank
but,
you. Do you remember any of your like first early bits?
Yes, actually. Well, yeah, it kind of became a closer, so it just is a thing that I did for a long time. But
dude, that is the thing too. Sometimes the bits that stick around, I go, God, I wrote this when I was 16, and I'm still doing it. That's so sad.
It is sad. It's sad.
Like I gotta fucking burn some of this stuff.
It's so
Sorry,
sad.
I cut you off,
no, it's so sad because it's like people see me for a long time. They're like, "You're still doing that thing. Like, you don't get it, dude. I've added so many layers." But no, my thing was when I was in school. This is like a true thing. Then I was just like, at first I was like, I'm gonna do stand up. If I ever do stand up, I'm gonna talk about this. But I was doing like a bench press, and my mother was spotting. This is on Mother's Day too. Today's Mother's Day. Anywho, my mother sat on my face, I guess, is the point. And I remember being like, and she had no idea what like kind of weird boundary she crossed. She's just trying to save it. She doesn't know what she's doing. Like the bar was dropped on my chest or whatever.
Oh, something went wrong.
Something went wrong.
You weren't like bench pressing, and she was like hard mode.
No. It's like, you want to make it a varsity boy? No, it was just like it. I was trying to. I guess I was trying to impress my mom by putting too much weight on, and then she didn't. I was like, help me, and she didn't know like to do it. I don't know if she had like the upper or the lower body strength, so she's like, I'm gonna get lower, and she like had to crouch down, and she sat on my face and pulled it up, and then I was like, okay, I think we're good for the day or whatever. But I remember thinking like, yeah, I think it's like immediately being like, I don't know how I'm gonna process what just happened.
Dude, it's so funny that to make like an improviser, you like they went to NYU and read Proust. Like to make a stand-up comic, just like put your mom's pussy on your face one time, and you'll change your life.
Exactly. Yeah, origin story right there, you know, for sure.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah.
Did that bit end up working? Do you talk about it?
Yeah.
That's
sure.
what's up.
Yeah,
Has your mom seen you do it?
She has seen me do it several
Let's
times. Yes, many times over the years.
Cool mom.
Yeah, cool mom. No, we love my mom's great. Yeah. So, okay, so Chicago. You're in Chicago for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And at what point do you feel like so when did JFL was pretty recently, right?
Yeah,
Maybe in the last year.
I was like the weird COVID year where the border was closed.
Okay.
And so we were at Dynasty Typewriter in LA.
Interesting.
And it was kind of just new faces, and the festival happened, but it was like scattered around the US and Canada. But it was like weird timing where like I graduated college and I was like already planning to move to New York. Like I was like driving away from college, and I got it, and it was like a week before I moved to New York. So it was like really convenient timing that made that transition a little easier. But yeah, it was like right after my senior year.
Well, okay.
Oh no, it was kind of fun too that it wasn't the big, kind of campus experience that I think people have at JFL, but it made it like feel like lower pressure a little bit because it was
Great.
just like a show. People had masks on. It was like lower capacity, so it was like, and I was still freaking out. So I was like, I probably would have lost my shit if we were at a theater. Like,
Interesting.
I'm kind of happy that it was that year.
Um,
I don't know. Have you done Dynasty Typewriter? Do you
I
like that
haven't.
place?
Mm-mm.
It's like a cute little like, I don't know. It has like weird old. Will Foskey in his set said that it looked like the room Edgar Allan Poe like killed himself in or
Amazing.
something, and I was
That's
like,
great.
it really does.
That's great. Okay, so before that, were you like, when were you doing like feature work and stuff? Like, were you getting a lot of feature work prior to this?
I was kind of doing like I was doing like funny business gigs in like the
Yeah.
Midwest.
Okay.
Like Chicago was, I had a car up there, so it was a lot of like deep Midwest,
Sure.
like Upper Peninsula of
Yeah.
Michigan, like wild casino gigs and stuff,
Uh-huh.
and like featuring and doing like longer sets on those. And those were cool too, because like that and the South are like, you know what I mean? I mean, whatever, the hair and the docks. Like it's, if I was in Brooklyn, I think it'd be very easy for me to be in that insular. We were kind of talking about this in the car, but like in that insular, like intellectually inbred kind of thing. So I'm kind of glad I came up in a lot of crowds where I was like, we have nothing in common, and I'm gonna try to figure out how to talk to you and find what there is that's similar.
Yeah.
'Cause yeah, I think I like needed that. You know, I don't know.
Totally.
It's just, it's like a fun challenge
Absolutely.
to like start off with.
Yeah. And how'd you do in this? Did you crush
Oh,
on
I
the
was
show?
eating shit, dude.
Yeah, for a while, but you eventually
Me in a
figured it out.
Hayward, Wisconsin casino behind a buffet for 3 75-year-olds. Brutal.
For sure. Yeah.
Absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Chicago was fun. I don't mean to be like it.
Of
but
course.
like,
yeah.
but yeah, some of those Midwest ones, I was like, they do not like me. That's the thing too. I'm like, oh, I cut my teeth on people. Yeah, but sometimes I was just like, you got to take the L.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, I'm not gonna win you over
Uh-huh,
with the
uh-huh.
abortion stuff. It's just not gonna happen. Yeah.
But then, but the JFL did pretty good for you. Did you get like, about? I don't even know how to ask questions. I think the Red Bull and the 2 beers prior. Mistake. But
Oh wow, wild combo.
that was
Beer
wild.
then Red Bull is a wild combo.
I'm not a day drinker, but we're challenging ourselves every day. You know? But JFL was a good experience. You had, did you get like industry interest and stuff after that? And
Yeah, it's kind of like generals and stuff off of it, and
Yeah.
like that world is still. I'm like, I don't really know how to. I'm learning how to navigate it, but I was kind of like, whatever you guys say, I'll go to the
Sure.
meetings and I'll meet people, and I'm happy to be here. But it's so different from like hanging out with comics that it's almost like I was like trying to be professional and shit. But my manager Kelly, who I fucking love, shout out Kelly, I love you. I was with her like in college, so
oh, great.
I came to JFL with her, and like that, kind of that helped me like navigate that and stuff. But yeah, I don't know, JFL. Honestly, it's so weird, but I really think the biggest thing that JFL did was help me like get on bar shows and clubs in New York. Like it's like, yeah, I know it maybe used to be like sitcom TV deal, but I was like, it really was just like if I message someone on Instagram, can I do your show? And I say JFL, they'll like watch the tape
For-
at least,
for sure,
and they
totally.
film it, so you could send that as your submission tape.
Yeah,
Like that really helped.
absolutely.
Yeah, I think really the biggest thing it did is, it made moving to New York and getting on shit like just a little smoother.
Yeah, you have the bona fides after that.
Yeah, because otherwise you just get buried in there's a
know, I
million
know, I
people
get it,
trying
yeah.
to submit to shows that,
It's so nice actually not living there anymore, because now I can be like, I'm visiting, and I'm like, oh wow, this is what the New York experience is like. Very cool.
Dude, it's so funny. Friends that are like, I got so many shows when I was visiting, and then I moved here, and it's nothing. And it's like, yeah, you're almost better off like coming up 4 times a year. You're doing the shows as much as you would if you lived in the city.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I know people that actually had lived there, but they were just being like, they constantly were just like, I'm visiting.
Hilarious.
It's so funny,
That's really funny.
Yeah, that is the move. So, and now so you moved to New York after JFL, very quickly after, yeah?
Yeah, I had already had my plans to move and everything, so it was like a week after JFL I was like up there, which was like just convenient that's how it worked out.
And you're living with your friend, Kenyon?
Kenyon just moved in recently. At the time it was just like random people I found on like a roommate, app. And cheap apartment.
You live
Moved in with my
rabbits?
pet rabbit. You said what?
You have rabbits?
My rabbits. I only had one rabbit at the time, Wilbur,
Uh-huh.
who was being treated for syphilis. I remember, dude, oh my God. I don't know how he got syphilis, but I had to like give him
I have an idea, yeah.
Dude, I used to do like a whole bit about it too, of like what, like I didn't fuck the rabbit, like I don't know what happened.
But we both have syphilis.
Yeah. No, I guess like rabbit syphilis is a thing.
Interesting.
And it's like he could have gotten it, I don't know.
Yeah.
But he had syphilis, and he could have picked it up at the vet. Who knows?
Sure.
I didn't fuck the rabbit. But he had syphilis, and I had to give him like shots of penicillin.
Wow.
And I was moving, and my mom was helping me move, and like I just remember in the middle of like moving furniture, and it's hot, and we're painting the walls and shit. I would have to stop and like get him aside and like try to give him a shot of penicillin. It was like, dude, made that whole thing such a fucking nightmare. But love him. He pulled through.
That's nice.
Then he had to get liver surgery earlier this year, but now he's good. Dude, this rabbit like it's insane the medical shit he's gone through. He had MRSA also. Okay, wait, so get this. The reason he was being given up for adoption is because this lady was breeding show rabbits. There's like a Westminster dog show.
Oh my God.
Like agility competition for rabbits. And she was like, his ears are too long to compete. He's like not up to code. So she was like giving him away. And so I got him. But I think because he's like bred to be like a show rabbit, I was like, he's got a lot of issues.
Interesting.
But I got pet insurance. And thank God I did, because I didn't know anything was fucking wrong with him. And then, what would you know? Syphilis, MRSA, liver surgery. I mean, insane.
I mean, not to get like dark here, but how long do rabbits last? Like, how long do they live?
Dude, they can live like 12 years.
Okay.
No, I had the same thought too. I didn't know anything when I got him, and I was kind of like, honestly, this sounds bad, but I was like, you take him to the vet? I was like, what do you take a goldfish to the vet? Like,
yeah,
what are we doing?
exactly, yeah.
And then I was like, oh no, they have like real, and they have so much more personality than I thought too.
Huh.
Like they really are like little dogs or cats. They like run up to me when I come home. They like sit on your lap and like beg for treats. Like they really have like, you know what I mean? They're not just like a turtle. Like, they have some life to them.
Yeah.
And yeah, you take them to a special vet, and I'm glad I know what I know now.
Was it a COVID rabbit?
It was a COVID rabbit. Yeah, it was a COVID rabbit.
Mm-hmm. There was like I just read an article about the dog boom in New York, because everyone's being yelling at all the dogs because there's so many more dogs in Brooklyn than there used to be because of COVID.
That's really funny. Well, there's a big thing too with people giving back pets after COVID.
Uh-huh.
It's like, you fucking sick monster. What the hell are you talking about?
I don't need them anymore.
You're done with it?
Yeah.
Dude.
I know, it's awful.
Evil.
It's
Crazy.
evil. Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, no, I love the little guy. And then I started going on the road, and I was like, I feel bad leaving him alone and just having someone feed him.
Right.
And I didn't know, apparently they're really social animals. And so I got him a second. I got a second rabbit, Yoshi. Wilbur and Yoshi are my guys. And they're like in love with each other. It's so cute.
Question.
Yes.
So I listened to a radio program about a guy who got a bunch of COVID rats. And apparently there's a whole rat community and stuff. And again, they're all social animals. You get more and more rats.
Rat community as in the community of rats, or the community of rat owners?
Rat owners.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
It's a bunch of subreddit or whatever. But once COVID opened, once the world opened up again, he's having trouble dating because it's like, when I come back to my place, I have a bunch of rats. It's like
you
like
just
one of those
gotta
things.
find the right girl, dude. Because we're out there. I will fuck a rat guy like nobody's business. I fucked a rat guy that didn't even own rats. Just the energy of that speaks to me.
Yeah. So I guess it's like I guess rabbits are a little cuter at least. It's more like, you want to come home to see my rabbit. I don't know what your lifestyle is like. You have, but is it like a thing?
I need to
like,
vacuum a little more than I do. I'm gonna be honest. I vacuum like right before we do the podcast, so the studio looks nice. But they use a litter box and they're good about it.
Interesting.
But hay gets fucking everywhere, dude.
Yeah.
I have gotten out of an airport, gotten to a hotel room, opened up my suitcase, and there's hay. And I'm like, I'm in another state.
Yeah.
Because I just have like a bale of hay in my apartment that I have to like pull from. So I have had that thought. I've not hooked up with anybody in New York at my place.
Uh-huh.
The rabbits probably do complicate it a little bit.
Sure.
I hate to say it. It's not a super sexual energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're cute. They're a fun conversation starter.
Uh-huh.
Wait, so what happened to Rat Guy? Did he give up his rats?
He found a girl who's okay with rats.
Thank God. Thank God.
I mean, I used to live at a doggy daycare center, so I was a thing like.
You lived there?
I lived there, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And you lived, worked,
and played.
It was like a company town for like a doggy daycare center.
So like he had a big dog walking company, but also he also had doggy daycare in his house. So like I was the living guy,
Whoa.
I was a living doggy daycare man.
So you're working at a lot of places. You're also living. We're here at the compound.
Right.
You like a package deal.
I'm what's known as a grifter, Maddie. Okay, so I will find a way to live somewhere for free. Okay, that's very important about my lifestyle. It's very important for me. So, but yeah, the dogs I had a lot of dogs, so it was a fun thing at first. But then it's just like, wow, like every few hours you have to go back home or like sleep in. I can't. I have to walk 12 dogs right now.
Dude, I think about that with dogs all the time. I'm like, I almost got a dog during COVID, and then I was like, I feel like it'd be hard walking them, and I'm like, yeah, thank God, because New York too. It's like you go into the city, you're there for the whole day.
I know.
You're like camping. You have to bring like a backpack and
yeah.
life water straw or whatever.
Yeah, what is your New York like packaging system? Like, are you traveling along? Like, what do you got?
Dude, I was talk about things that get in the way of fucking. I had like a backpack on, and I was like, I look insane. I finally bought a purse. I'm 25. I just bought my first like real purse. I was using like an old like military bag for a while, and I was like, this is, it's cool. But it's not cool. And so now I just have like a little purse that has like my inhaler and lipstick and phone and all that. But for a while I don't know, I always I was like this when I was a kid too. I would go to school and I would just have like the heaviest backpack in the world.
Yeah.
Like I would bring like 3 books. Like I'm not reading these books. I don't know. I just like, I love like the comfort of being like, well, I have everything I could possibly need. And then it's like, well, I have a 50-pound backpack now. So I was doing that when I first moved to New York. I was like big backpack guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're more on the purse grind and it's a little comfier. I don't know. What was your move?
I went through all those phases that you mentioned. I had a purse for a while. No, I remember.
Oh, I skipped over the tote. There was the tote also.
I did a tote as
Of
well.
course,
I
yeah.
did a tote, and then I remember like
Strand tote?
It wasn't a strand tote. No,
I'm such a basic bitch. It was
Yeah?
it was a strand tote. I hate to say.
I love a strand tote. My acting friend works there,
Oh,
but
wow.
I did have the tote or like just kind of like the man bag or whatever. And then I remember my girlfriend's whatever. He was a pilot, but he's like nice bag, and the way he said it, I was just like, all right, I get it, dude. He was he burned me real bad. Anyway, so but there was a while where I was like, I'm not bringing anything. I just had like my wallet and my fucking things in my pocket. I'm like,
That's crazy.
and I was just like, I mean, I was living though. And then eventually I'm just like, I can't spend all this. Like, it was just like a matter of like, I don't need anything other than like what's on my person. And then, no, I needed stuff. I just had I carried a book bag all the time. Yeah.
Well, at least guys, you have a little more pocket real estate than us usually.
That is very true.
I mean, these jeans are pretty good, but like, we do, yeah. A lot of times you're just like, there's no pockets on my outfit.
Yeah, there should be like
It's
a
a
New
hard
York City
world.
catheter system that just like bathroom stuff is a problem as well.
Catheter? Oh, like you just have your own like
Like a non-invasive catheter.
like a voluntary colostomy bag.
I think so. I think it would be very helpful.
That could be huge.
Yeah.
Elective,
Elective,
port
let's-
surgery or whatever it is.
Exactly. Become the cyborgs, just be like, how does anybody live up there? I'll tell you how,
Could you find a doctor to do that? Like, what are the rules on like, if you went to a doctor and you were like, cut off my arm, please.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I have a thing from a judge that says I'm not mentally unwell.
Uh-huh.
I just want it off. Actually, wait, that's a thing. People have a dysphoria for they're like, I'm not supposed to have an arm.
Right.
And they're like, I need it off. That is a thing. I forget what it's called. And people, it's like the opposite of phantom limb
Body
syndrome.
integrity dysphoria.
Yeah.
Also referred to as body integrity identity disorder, amputee identity disorder, or X word, and formerly called, another one. It is a rare mental disorder characterized by a desire to have a sensory or physical disability. Are you familiar with the Black Alien Project?
No.
Can you pull that up? This is a man who has a lot of elective surgeries, and he's amputated certain fingers. Cannot do that in America. Went to Mexico to do it. Well, I don't know. Actually, I think he's French, but he also has his whole body is tattooed black. This fucking guy.
Okay. I was thinking of a different body mod person. I've seen some guy that's like full body tattoo and like a ton of crazy mods, but
He's
I'm not
done stuff
seeing
to
this
his
guy.
nose. He's done stuff to his cheeks and stuff.
Wow.
And he has like fingers missing because he wants to look like it. He believes he's an alien, and
It's like an interesting line too of like bodily autonomy versus like a mental disorder. You know what I mean? Where you're like, at what point do you step in and be like, hey man, maybe you need some help, you're hurting yourself, versus like, yeah, it's your body, do what you want. You know what I mean? I'm like, he's an adult.
he is
Like, do what you want.
he is an adult.
It kind of looks sick, honestly. Like, is the world not cooler because this guy exists? You know what I mean?
For sure, yeah.
Like that's whenever people are being like a hater about something, I'm like, would the world be like more interesting if this wasn't here?
Totally, yeah.
Kind of just cool that it's around.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, is he like, does he do like interviews and stuff? Like, is he with it?
Yeah, there was like I watched like a 15-minute documentary about him. Religious people were yelling at him in the face and stuff. He's like a bodybuilder type. He does have an OnlyFans. I believe he's got a split dick. I think that's also
What?
part of it. I think he had to, but it's behind a paywall. So
He has a split dick.
I think that's either what he's trying to do or that's what he has. But I think it's like
How would you pee even?
Who
Just
knows?
out of the base?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
Maybe, but it's like
could you even fuck with that?
I mean,
I guess if it's hard, it almost would be like one thing again. Like I'm imagining it like his dick getting hard. Like those those slappy bracelets you put on your wrist and they fucking wrap around like
the before and after. Yeah, don't put that on the Wi-Fi, please.
I mean, he like gave himself like a cleft palate kind of.
Uh-huh.
Before he looks like a guy from like the Jersey Shore. Like it's not who you would, you know what I mean? It's not like he was like a goth guy.
Right.
And I'm like, I could see it. It's like,
yeah.
He thinks he's an alien or he wants to look like an alien.
He believes he's from outer space.
Okay, that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough to, you know.
It is tough. And I mean, just I don't know. It's a wild thing to do.
Dude, it's hard enough to heal like an ear piercing. It's like that's like an invasive, like that is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And like dangerous surgeries and like.
For sure. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Split dick is crazy.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it. I don't know if that's what we were getting at, but I don't know if I can handle it. I think I just don't want it in my brain. But that's wild.
I guess that in comparison to a skullet is the podcast is called Skullet. I'm growing a skullet.
Oh yeah.
So
wait, and so it's bald where it's bald and long where it's
bald. It's long where it's long. I think that I watched a movie called Love Lies Bleeding and
loved it.
Yeah, oh yeah, you saw the movie.
It.
That movie rules.
Love Kristen
huh?
Stewart. I'm
She's
in
great.
love with her.
She's great. Yeah.
Yeah,
what else was Kristen Stewart in recently that I saw? Oh, I watched this crazy movie. I'm not gonna remember the director, but it was like a futuristic movie. Whatever, we'll cut this. But it was just like it was the idea. It's so vague. It's gone. But she's doing really interesting work.
Yeah, she seems like she picks cool projects. Like she's one of those actresses that I'm like, if she's in it, I'll watch it without really knowing anything because I just trust that she does cool shit.
I think she did. Didn't she direct the Boy Genius music video?
Really?
I think she did. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And it was like
that's sick.
Yeah, it was like a triptych. It was like 3 songs in one. So each of the members had their own kind of like mini movie and stuff.
Whoa.
And then they all just ended up making out at the end.
Let's go.
Yeah. So, yeah, there it is.
Let's go. Oh,
all
that's
Ed
a
Harris,
long
baby.
one.
Yeah, that's years and years. So,
dude, this will be fun to like you see podcasts and it's like episode number 1,500, but it's just your hair getting longer every thumbnail.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the plan. I'm gonna go through not only a physical change, but I think my whole wardrobe will probably change too. Get a bunch of turquoise rings and stuff, and just kind of live in the desert for a while. Pickup truck, and
yeah, you're like that guy, except instead of being like I'm from Mars, you're like I actually feel inside like I'm from Phoenix, Arizona, and I would like my body and hair to match that.
Exactly. Well, that's why I just got the Slurpee hat, right? So the Slurpee hat is a brand new thing, but I'm like, this is part of the new persona, right? This seems like This seems like you said sound guy, sound engineer.
The bald on top, long in a little ponytail in the back is such a sound guy look.
That is true, yeah. So that's anyway, that's just sort of the intellectual conceit of this entire endeavor.
It's exciting stuff.
Thank you so much. Thanks for being a part of it.
I'm really honored.
So we're in the beginning stages. I think this is probably the 4th episode we did, but it was growing for a while. I did see an ex-girlfriend, and I changed it. She did not like the look, so I cut it off. But we're back at it. We're not talking. She and I we're still talking a little bit, but we are. It doesn't matter. I know where things are changing.
There's so much heartbreak behind the Skullet.
Listen.
It's so funny. It's I'm gonna grow it, and I love her.
No, I mean, we're good. She's fine. We're good. But we are, we're growing the Skullet out. Things are good. upward, and over. So, okay.
Sorry, did I?
No,
like,
no.
I don't know
Please,
you well enough.
That's totally that is in line with everything we've got going on here. Lastly, but you're the cellar and stuff. How the fuck is that going, man? How long have you been there?
So fun. I've been there maybe 8 or 9 months now.
Incredible.
And it's I think maybe I said this to you before, but I was like, it was one of the places that I had it on such a pedestal that I was like prepared to be like, you know what I mean? I really idealized it, and then I got there and I was like, it's really like even more fun than I thought it would be. Like I fucking love that. It's my favorite place in the world.
Yeah.
Like knock on wood. I feel very lucky to be there. I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
Having the time of my little life.
No, that's great. Well, they're also listen. You killed it here all weekend. They're lucky to have you. Okay.
Oh shucks.
No,
thanks.
you're like one of our favorite ones. Comics we've had at our shows. So you've been fucking crushing it. So what is it like? Yeah. So you're in their Vegas show as well, or their Vegas venue this coming up too.
Yeah, Red Eye to Vegas tonight. We're doing a week there. Should be fun.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to do like some touristy stuff in Vegas too. I want to try to go to Red Rocks. I want to try to get out and hike in the desert. Although I think it might be hot. But yeah, dude, I do like just nature out west is like,
I know.
Oh, it's on such a different scale.
Totally.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it really is like, it almost feels like spiritual. You're like, I get why this is like, deserts are like the mushroom place. 'Cause you're like, you really do feel just dwarfed by like the planet in a way that I don't think you really do on the East Coast.
Have you done a lot of touring out in the Southwest?
I did. Do you know Carly Kane?
No.
She's out of Chicago. She's in New York now. Great comic. We did a road trip out of my car when we were in Chicago, and we like lived out of my car for a month and did a big loop of like 2/3 of the country. But we went through like Utah, Denver, a bit of New Mexico, Arizona, I think.
Yeah.
And we like in between shows we're like camping in like national parks and stuff.
Good
And
for
that
you,
was really
yeah.
the only time I saw it. But like driving through there, like that drive from like Utah to Denver
is fucking crazy.
Oh, dude. And you pass like 3 different terrains. It's like, it's fucking insane. Yeah, it's like, it was like the most alive I've ever felt in my life.
It doesn't feel like America. It feels like it's like totally,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know what it feels like, but it's like, I feel like I'm in like, I don't know, like the ruins of like ancient Rome or something. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. And like
Yeah.
there's like pillars and shit.
Totally.
We are like so lucky to like, and I don't mean this necessarily in like a America way, but like we are so lucky to live in a place that's so, like where the, well, let me phrase that differently. It's not that we're lucky to live in a place where the land's so diverse, but I guess we're lucky to have such easy, unrestricted access to so many different types of like terrain and cultures, and you know what I mean? Like America's so big, and it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know, it's just cool that we can just get in a car and drive and, you know, be in a totally different place in like a day.
Yeah, it feels like you're traveling to like different worlds in Mario, you know? The further west you go, I'm like, okay. Now
Dude,
we're,
like the Super Smash Bros. Different levels, like, oh, it's a desert level.
now we're underwater. Yeah, for sure.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Maddie Weiner, you've been incredible. Thank you so much for coming to Pittsburgh, and thanks for doing our podcast. Where can people follow you?
Oh, dude, thanks so much for having me. It was a blast. I'm on Instagram at Maddie T. Wiener, and I have a podcast called Phone is in the Bag with my buddy Kenyon. It's a good time.
Amazing. All right. We'll see you next time. And remember, not all growth is good. Skullet.
Oh, yeah. Right here. Right now.